About a year ago, I brought you guys through the whole design process on designing a new streamer. We went from sketching it all the way to tying it. And this is what we came up with, which I was never really excited about. And one of the best traits of a good streamer designer is knowing when they've got something really good and knowing when they need to tweak things. So we went from this to this. Let's talk about these changes. We're gonna have to get a little creative here. So when we start talking about the single knuckle, I liked the direction I was going with this fly, but I tried to do too much. And that's me. It's 100% me. If I'm gonna go to here, I'm actually gonna end up here, like through the roof. That's just what I do. But just like we talked about in the Beneath the Surface on the Drunk and Disorderly, I needed to edit myself. I knew I did, and I did. After I finished with this fly, I liked it. I didn't love the swim. It wasn't giving me the swim that I wanted. It just wasn't doing it. If you remember, this is on a belly bumper hook. So this is an inverted hook, and it's all tied on basically this portion of the hook. But how I did the tail was a pretty cool idea. So if you remember, I put the tail on this shank. Like within the body, I put a tail on a shank. And I love the idea. I really do. The idea behind it is a good idea, worth trying, but it didn't do it. It didn't do anything. What ended up happening, and I figured this was going to happen, and I alluded to it in the design video. All the material that went over the tail just glued it down. It just glued it down. It wasn't going to get all this crazy movement. I didn't have problems with fouling, which is pretty cool, but I did have a problem with not getting the movement that I wanted. Also, the materials were a little bit iffy as well. I used craft fur as like the main pop of color and the main kind of bulk to the body, and all that was propped up with bucktail. It just doesn't do what I wanted it to do. So I went back to the drawing board. And the first thing I knew I wanted to do was lighten the fly up. I didn't want it to feel bulky. Like this is like a 5-inch fly, almost dead on the money, but the main part of the body is like 3.5 inches. I didn't want this much bulk. It just seems like a lot of bulk. I was going for something smaller. So I knew first of all I had to back off on materials. So what I ended up doing was literally taking a complete step back from materials and saying, okay, let's just kind of start over with this and see how we're gonna build this body. So if you're not familiar with the belly bumper hook, this is the hook that the fly is tied on. And the majority of the body, of everything that you see, is actually tied just right here. That's where the majority of everything is. But I had keel weighting here, and I knew I wanted to cover that keel weight. So what I did was took a sparkle brush and just wrapped a sparkle brush from about this point all the way up this, which created all of this flash. See all that flash? It created all this flash, which instantly, before I even got to the body, created bulk. And that bulk did nothing for me. It absolutely did nothing for me. It added a little bit of flash, but it didn't help create the body. It just didn't give me anything. So one of the first things I decided to do to cut down on the bulk was to not wrap all this flash up just to cover the keel weight. So all I did to cover the keel weight on the new fly is to wrap Flashaboo over it. That's it. It does give a little bit of flash through the body. It's not there for flash. It's there to just cover things. That's all it's there for. So these are the exact same size hook, and look at the difference in the bulk that this has compared to this one. This was an easy change. I knew this was an easy change, and I knew it was a possibility before I ever finished designing this fly. So I knew that I had an out if I needed it. And I needed it. I feel like I totally needed it. I've said it 1,000 times. You build bulk, but build bulk for reasons, to give the fly a profile, versus this thing is square. I mean, or rectangle. That's a rectangle. And that's boring and doesn't move. It doesn't move. That is far from a rectangle. So one of the things you guys are gonna say is, I don't see eyes on it, and I know I'm such an eye guy. I love eyes. I love these dead meat custom eyes. They are just super, super cool. But on a smaller fly that you're trying to make smaller, you're actively trying to make a smaller fly. When you put these 10mm eyes on it, it immediately adds bulk, or it immediately adds weight. It's not gonna add bulk, but it adds a noticeable amount of weight, and I didn't love that. So I went eyeless. I know, for me it's crazy. It's so crazy because I love eyes, but it just felt right, and I haven't looked back. I haven't wished this thing had eyes. As it's in the water moving, I'm never like, oh man, wish I'd put eyes on that. But to create length, we added some scales and tails, and then some flashabou, and then we started stacking marabou. This fly is super easy to tie. There really isn't much to tying this fly, and that's what I was going for. Typically, if it's easier to tie, it means it's less materials. It's less of each material, and all that means is it's easier to tie, it's easier to cast, it's easier to fish. That's a no-brainer. And one of the big reasons I just wasn't feeling this fly is because of the bulk that was necessary, that was unnecessary, that I put in this fly. I didn't have the ability to size it down very well, and I knew I wanted like some small flies in this profile, so I didn't have the ability to size it down very well. I struggled with that, and that was honestly the straw that broke the camel's back. I was like, okay, I'm kind of done with this. I can't size it down. But with this profile, I totally can. Look at that little dude. Isn't it cute? This fly from here to here comes in at 4 inches, but you're talking, it's a 2.5 inch main body fly. There really isn't much to it. I still have the keel weight on here just to help get it down, and to give this push-pull effect. I'm still going for that push-pull effect. The float versus sink effect. You know, that thing. The bottom of the body wants to sink while the foam wants to float. So you have this seesaw of fight. It's fighting itself, and that's what a good streamer is going to do. A good swim fly. A good swim fly is going to fight itself and fight gravity, buoyancy. You get it. But when it fights itself, it means different things are going to happen, and that that's just. But this in the baby size, it may be one of my favorite sizes. Just being honest. Oh. So good. So right now this flies out to some other fishermen that I know and stuff like that. So I don't have all the colorways, but you saw the chartreuse and white. So how about something natural? How about that? Right? I'm super excited to finish off coming up with what colorways I'm gonna end up submitting to Montana Fly Company. But this is definitely going to be one. And I've got 3 or 4 more that are possibilities. So if you're new here, subscribe to the channel, because the next video, we're going to tie it for you. Also, I just got some fun stuff. We're going to start doing lives. We're going to have live nights. I'm going to try to let you guys know on Instagram and on here on YouTube. I'm going to start tying live. Have some streams going. Let you guys come in and ask questions as the stream is going. I'm excited. I'm super excited about this. As soon as I got all the equipment I needed, I was like, I just want to go live right now. Pump the brakes, Brian. pump the brakes. So I've been testing and doing all sorts of stuff just to make sure that, number one, I'm a Sony guy, and overheating, if you know Sony's, overheating is huge, and I've beaten the overheating thing, so we're ready to go live. So look for live streams coming super soon, and yeah, next video, we're gonna tie it.